Hey everybody, so today I'm going to take you through a 16th note exercise. Now I like to use this as a warm-up, but if you're a beginner drummer, which this is kind of aimed at, this is going to be great to not only use as a warm-up, but you can use it to facilitate more movement around the toms. If you're a more advanced drummer, feel free to stick around too. It never hurts to go back to the basics and work on them. It's good for your control, good for your timing. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some stuff that you can, some basic things you can do with this that are more advanced. So this is going to be kind of just for you. So 16th notes, we've got a basic 16th note pattern, right? We all know how to play 16ths, and we're going to play it hand to hand, single strokes. So like this, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and all right, so there are our 16th notes. For the purposes of this exercise, we're going to think about those 16ths in 4 groups of 4, and we're going to allocate each one a position. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Now the reason we're doing that and counting them in a kind of unconventional way is because it's easier to think of each individual phrase, 1 2 3 4, and then repeat it. So you know that 4 4s are 16, so that's going to add up to the total amount we want to do. The other thing is we're going to be moving rights or lefts to the floor tom or the first tom, and we can allocate positions to that, so it helps to think of it in those terms. So for example, all the right hands are on odd numbers, 1 2 3 4. So 1 and 3, you know it's going to be a right hand. And for the purposes of this exercise, every right hand that we move is going to go on the floor tom, and every left hand that we move is going to go on the first tom. So when we put this thing together, the first phrase we're going to work on goes like this. So we're going to move the 1 to the floor tom, 1 2 3 4. Okay, 1 2 3 4. So that's going to be phrase number 1. And to start off with, we're going to play phrase number 1 4 times through. So it's going to go like this: 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So that's our first phrase. Second phrase, we're going to move the 2, and the 2 is going to be on a left hand, and we're going to move it up to the first tom. So it's going to go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Now it might feel a bit awkward going up with the left hand because a lot of fills are very right hand heavy. You know, we lead with the right and we move with the right. So going up with the left might feel a bit of a challenge for you guys that are right-handed. Now, this concept is called gridding, or going through a grid. And basically what we do is we take a phrase, which is a group of notes, and we do something different in that phrase in a certain location, and then we move to the next location, which would be the 2. So we've just covered the first 2 phrases. So on the first one, if you think about the grid, on number 1 we moved, and then the second phrase on number 2 we moved. So following that same logic, the third phrase is going to fall on the right hand, so it's going to be a floor tom, and it's going to go on the third position like this: 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, so that's what we've got so far, and you've probably worked out the next one, right? It's not difficult to understand the sequence. We're moving to the 4. 1 2 3 4 with the first tom. So far so good. That's pretty straightforward, right? Breaking these phrases down. We've got 4 phrases. We're playing each one 4 times. No big deal. The challenge comes on the next step. And on the next step, what we do is we work on assembly. So what we're doing at this point is we're not thinking about the phrase itself. We know we can do that. We're thinking about how can we move between and stick these phrases together. So to do the groups of 4 like we just did, well, during one phrase, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, pretty easy. But then we've got to get straight into the second one, so we've got to stick that one on the end and move seamlessly between them, and then into the third and into the fourth. So I'm going to play it slowly for you so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we're going to jump on and we're going to try it with the metronome, do some play along stuff. So if you're in front of your drums, that'd be great. You can play along with me. If not, you know where this clip is. Come back and practice it at some point. So each phrase, each of the 4 phrases 4 times through, and we're going to run through the whole sequence, and I'm going to do it slowly. Okay, so it's going to start like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first phrase. That's the 4th time through it, and then we're going to move straight to the next phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we're going to move to the next phrase. 3rd one. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then a 4th one. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. So, each of the 4 phrases, 4 times through, onto the next. Now you'll notice I stopped on the floor tom as well, and that was intentional. So that can be a bit awkward to play because it finishes on the 4th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts on the 1 again. So if you were repeating this and looping it, you've got 2 toms that are next to each other. So that particular part of it works like that. Now that can be challenging because it's a more sudden movement for one, and it's really important that we get these down because that's called the turnaround. So if you're looping it like you would in a song, you're assembling these sections together, these phrases, but you've also got to be able to go back to the start in a seamless way, like you would between a verse and a chorus in a song or something. So it's a good habit to get into to do that. All right, so we're going to run that same sequence. We're going to run it at 60 BPM with the click. Like I say, even if you're on a pad, you can join in. You can play an accent where the tom is, or you can move it off to the side, or whatever you want to do. Even hands on knees, you can facilitate this movement. So we're going to try it with the click. We're going to play through that sequence. Now we're going to call this sequence or this section A, right? So this is section A. Each of the 4 phrases 4 times through each and on to the next. We're going to run it at 60 BPM. However, our target speed's 120, so we're going to do 60 to start with. Then we're going to try 80. But we're going to put it all together at 60 first, and then we're going to incrementally move it up and see where you can get to. So first bit at 60. Here we go. We're going to go after 4. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so that's the first bit. That's what we're doing at 60. We're going to call that section A, right? So that's the first part of our sequence. Now, section B is going to be exactly the same thing, except instead of playing each phrase 4 times through, we're going to do 2. So we're going to get this. And then we'll move to the next one. And then we'll move to the next one. Okay? So on and so forth. So we're going to try that at 60 BPM. 2, ready, and. Cool. So in real time, that actually occupied the same space as section A. We call this section B, by the way, because we played it through, and even though we're moving after 2 instead of 4, which is half the amount, we did a repeat. We looped the thing, so we did it twice, so it occupies the same space. Now the next section, you probably guess where I'm going with this, section C. We're going to move the phrase down to 1 phrase instead of 2, like we just did. So we're going to go, and then move to the next one, then move to the next one, then move to the next one. So what that looks like is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then it would start again. So we're going to try that, section C, and we're going to loop it 4 times. So it still occupies the same space real time as section B did and section A, because we're just playing it more frequently. Now when I'm teaching this lesson, this tends to be the most challenging bit, because it's only made up of the same stuff, but the frequency of the move is more. So we're moving more often. It gives us less time to think about it, less time to settle into it. So at 60 BPM, it's going to go like this. 2, ready, and 1. And again. 1, 2. So if you're finding difficulty with any of these particular sections, it's probably likely to be B or C. Feel free, stop the video, practice them through, work on them at your own speed. Don't feel like you need to jump in now with them. When you're ready, come back to the clip. You know, give it a shot. Join in at this point. Now, the next thing we're going to do, again, it's very logical the way we're putting these things together to follow the sequence. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play all three sections together seamlessly, A, B, and C. I'm going to do it 60 BPM. Okay, here we go. 2, ready, and. So that is a whole section together, 60 BPM. Now, before I mentioned about moving this up incrementally, our target speed is going to be 120, right? We just did 60, but for most people that are trying this for the first time, trying to jump from 60 to 120 is a big deal, and it's kind of a big jump. So what we'll do is, and I'd encourage you to do this in all your practice, by the way, work incrementally. Nothing wrong with trying to shoot for a certain speed, and if you get it, that's great. You've saved yourself some time, but what most of us, to get the control we need, it needs to be a more gradual process. So we're going to do, we just did 60, we're going to do 80, same sequence, then we're going to do it 100, and then finally 120, which is our target speed. Okay, let's bump it up to 80. Here we go. 2, ready, and. Okay, so that was 80 BPM. You still with me? Be interesting actually to see what speeds people can do this at. So if you're up for it, stick it in the comments so I can see where everybody's at. That'd be quite interesting for me to see. All right, 100 BPM. 1, 2, ready, and. That was 100. You still there? Still with me? All right. Let's go up to 120. Like I said at the beginning of the clip as well, if you're a more advanced player, I'm going to show you some stuff that you can do with this in terms of modifying it to give yourself a bit more of a challenge. Some of you are probably thinking, what? More of a challenge? But yeah, trust me, it might feel a bit awkward now, especially as we get faster, but once you get it down, a bit of practice, you'll have it under your hands. You will find this quite easy. All right, 120. 2, ready, and. So there we go at 120. So, right, next step, things you can do with this. Now, you know, I'm showing you one way to do it, and it's a warm up and that you can use, or you might use it as a basis to create some fills or work on your movement for different fills that you already do. That's cool too. But like anything, feel free to make it your own. That's where the magic happens, when you take an exercise or something and you develop something that's unique to you with it. So you might, depending on the configuration of your set, you might have an extra rack tom or an extra floor tom, or you know, you can move this to cymbals and stuff. There's lots of cool things you can do. You can alter the sound. You could change the sequence that you're doing it. So you might want to move from 1 to 3, for example, instead of running through the grid in the way that I'm doing it. Another thing that's cool, and this is one of the things I like to do when I'm practicing it, I like to get the feet involved. So it turns into a coordination exercise as well for me when I add the right foot in. So what I'm going to do, I'll give you an example of that. I'm going to just run it again, and this time I'm going to pulse the kick drum on 4th notes, right? So I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to add that right foot into the workout. So it's going to go like this. Okay, we'll try that again. Okay, so made a little mistake in there that first time as well, at this speed. And you know, if you've seen my videos before, you know if I make mistakes when I'm recording them, I do them in one take, and it's all right. We do make mistakes when we play, so I leave them in, and yeah, it's good. And I've had some feedback from students that are like, you know, we like that idea because there's a lot of perfect and polished stuff on the internet. Kind of gives you a false expectation of the way that learning drums is. So yeah, there you go. All right, another thing, just one last thing, and I'm gonna sign off. But first thing, the last thing, sorry, is I'm gonna add in a left foot. So the feet are gonna go. So I'm just gonna play 8th notes, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'll put that over the top of it. Okay, we'll do this again. See if I can do this without making a mistake. Let's find out. After 4. Alright, so there you go. That's the sequence. Hope you enjoyed this and found some value in this lesson. If you did, drop me a comment, let me know. Feel free to reach out with any questions as well. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. The more numbers I get on that, the more I know people are looking and listening, and it makes me want to do more content because I can reach more people. So appreciate you tuning in to watch that, and I'll see you in the next clip.